Hi, and welcome to episode number 58 of Basha's Thoughts. A couple of episodes ago, I talked about the dangers of totalitarianism and asked the question, are we actually currently moving into a global totalitarian movement? In that episode, I outlined what it is that pulls us into such situations, what the circumstances are, that there has to be a lot of fear and dissatisfaction, a lot of free-flowing anxiety, and then there has to be a story that is propagated. And we have had the pre-existing conditions for totalitarianism to take root, and we have recently, in the past couple of years, had a story, a main narrative to follow, and this narrative has been one that was such that there was censorship for anyone trying to convey any kind of information that goes against it. And the danger of totalitarianism is that it escalates, and it escalates into pretty horrible situations. It hypnotizes, you could say, the masses, and the masses move into culture wars where they are no longer able to listen to any other side or any reason, and they feel justified in whatever they are doing. And even if you just think back a couple of years, some of the things that are going on today in society would have been totally unthinkable for many. And yet today they are justified and escalated. Today we see separation between groups of people. And we saw these kinds of separations in previous totalitarian movements. We had anti-Semitism that later on became something that was moved beyond. And right now we have peoples who are not willing to be injected, or for whatever reason, and people who are willing to be injected, and both fighting against each other. Although it is not actually the people, it is a narrative that is being pushed from above and is also coming with a lot of regulations that move into greater and greater authoritarianism. So, what are the things that we are seeing today that would not have seemed even possible before? Well, in the beginning, you might recall that when it was announced that the injections were going to become available, of course, main leaders were saying, pretty much guaranteeing that, of course, this is only going to be something that will be taken on a voluntary basis. Anyone who wishes to take them can, and those who don't want to, for whatever reason, medical reason, religious reasons, personal reasons, whatever it might be, won't have to. And today we find ourselves in a situation where we have, in Europe, we have one country who has already mandated that these injections be taken by all. And if by February they're not, there's going to be a fine of, I believe, 3,600 euros, and then another one. And they're currently talking about a prison sentence for a month. And if you're still not willing to take your injection, then another month. So basically what we're seeing is that they are currently talking about the possibility of lifetime in prison for those who are not willing to be injected. And that's in one of the countries. Now, when this passes, we will see this pass in other places as well. In the European Union, we are seeing people right now talking about the possibility of creating a mandate for all of the European countries. Outside of Europe, we're also seeing all kinds of things. People losing their jobs because of mandates in the United States. In Australia, we're seeing concentration camps being built for the ill, it is said, and yet when you look at the people who are in there, you find people who are not at all at risk, who in fact even have taken 3 negative tests and are being put there as a punishment for having lied, for instance. We are seeing these concentration camps being modeled in other places, being built in other places. And if one is on the side of being injected, well then one might think, yeah, but this is actually justifiable. That only means that we have gotten this far right now. This would not have seemed justifiable a few years ago to most people. And yet it does right now. And so the question is, how far will we take it? How far will it go? Right now we say, well, of course we won't be killing them. We won't be killing people who might be ill. That's not even thinkable. But will we find ourselves there just within a couple of years, maybe? We are already talking about lifetime in prison for them. Perhaps the concentration camps will, I have no idea, maybe they will also be closed off, information will not be shared, and we will just have the information. Unfortunately, in these concentration camps, people are dying of the illness, whereas it might not be of the illness. We have no idea. This seems like a bad story, and yet right now we already have concentration camps. We already have people who, and not only people who have not taken the injection, but also people who have taken the injection but who have just through surveillance been found to have been in the proximity of someone who was ill or had the disease, and are now, after taking a negative test, are still being sent and punished for other things and closed in these concentration camps right now for 2 weeks. And they're being told that if they disobey certain rules, they will be kept there for longer. So it is as punishment. It is not because we want to protect them or others. If they disobey, they get to stay longer. And these people who have been in these concentration camps for even just 2 weeks will often lose their jobs when they come out. So their lives are severely altered by that. Not to mention the lack of freedom and the isolation of being put in a little box where they are not allowed to leave. That psychologically can also be difficult for some people, taking away their freedom. So these are just some examples of things that are already going on, and it's been not even 2 years in. And so what I'm really wanting to say is that maybe we should stop and look and see if there's a way of waking up from the hypnosis that we are under. And maybe it is time to start sharing this information with more people so that more and more can wake up. Because as this escalates, it will not just be the people who are not willing to be injected that will be suffering. It will be many others, and for many other reasons, as we are already seeing, reasons such as punishment. Pure punishment because someone happened to lie. We remember that from the 40s, the early 40s, 1940s, where Even people who were just wearing glasses were considered dangerous to the regime because they might be intellectual. They were also sent off to camps. It had nothing to do with being Jewish or not. They were just wearing glasses, and many other reasons. So this very short episode today is just to wake us up, is just to stop and think, what is happening in the world? How can we talk about it in a way that does not ignite fire and does not further the culture wars where nobody is willing to listen to the other side? By using the giraffe language, the language of nonviolence, we would instead try to focus on what it is the others, whoever the others might be, are feeling. What are their fears? What are they needing? And if we connect with that, their needs and their feelings, we can start opening up for a discussion and understanding of what is going on, and perhaps we have a chance of waking up from this current totalitarian movement that is taking over the world. That was it for today. I might talk to you in another podcast episode. Take care.